date of payment received, whichever is earlier. So which is earlier in the present case? 5/7/2012. Next 2012-13. Whichever is earlier. Which is earlier? 3/4/2013. 2013-14. 11/4/2014. Easy. Even next question will be easy for you. HMV Limited is having the copyright of classic songs of late Kishore Kumar recorded in a compact disc. The company gave the aforementioned copyright to Super Cassettes Industries Limited. On 20/4/2011, the consideration payable by SCI Limited to HMV for acquiring the foregoing copyright has been fixed at 10 rupees per series. All these information are relevant only to arrive at the amount, that amount column, for filling in the amount column. But we have to see whichever is earlier. So 29/7/2012, 16/8/2012, which is earlier? 29/7/2012. 3/6/2013, 23/5/2013, which is earlier? 23/5/2013. 16/6/14 and 16/6/14, same day, so 16/6/14. Okay. Then we have some special points in point of taxation. With that we can close. See point number 4 in special points, notes to the above chart in your material, that is in your textbook. See there point number 4. Let me explain this. Consider Airtel service provider. Generally, will the subscribers pay the exact amount? I am talking about postpaid connections. Will the subscribers pay exact amount, or sometimes will they pay more amount? More amount. Say I am service provider Airtel. I am raising bill for 1,815 rupees. 1,815 rupees. Usually what people will do, they will pay 2,000 rupees. 1,900, but some people will pay 2,000 rupees. Why? Why to pay it in fractions? Even if I pay excess, that will be carried forward in the next bill. So it's not an issue. So the subscribers will pay more than the bill amount, and one such subscriber paid 2,000 rupees. I have raised invoice for how much? 1,815. And I will be calculating service tax on what? 1,815. And how much? Some amount it comes to. And I will deposit into the government's account. But how much I have received? 2,000. Logically speaking, on the difference amount also I have to pay service tax, right? Because when I will raise invoice, I will raise invoice later. When I receive money before, raising invoice, because this particular difference, that is 2,000 minus 1,815, how much? 185 rupees. This 185 rupees I will not be recognizing in the invoice pertaining to this period. It will be recognized in the invoice of the next month, but payment is received. So it is a kind of advance. In that case, service tax is payable immediately. Correct? When you receive money before raising invoice, what is the point of taxation? Date of payment received. Date of payment received. Correct? Now, the subscribers are widespread. Subscribers are widespread means, say in Nungambakam there are some subscribers, in T Nagar there are some subscribers, like that in many places there are subscribers. And who will raise invoice and who will pay tax? The head office. So every city will have a head office, so that head office will take care of this job. It is not the head office which is located somewhere in Delhi. It is a head office with respect to particular city or circle. They call it a circle. For that circle there will be one head office. That head office will take care of this. Now, how many branches of Airtel are there in Chennai? Roughly 100, more than 100. And subscribers, different subscribers will be going to different outlets and they will be making the payments. Some people will opt for net banking facility also. Got it? Now, we don't know how many of them has paid in excess, and in which location or in which outlet excess money is received, we don't know. Generally, we are taking for one subscriber, he is paying 185 rupees excess. Like that, there can be another subscriber who will pay 50 rupees excess. Another subscriber, he can pay 10 rupees excess. So, all this information we cannot compile in the same month. Okay, you are raising bill. Say for example, you are raising bill somewhere on 15th. You are raising bill somewhere on 15th and payment due date is 25th. Okay. So now what you should have done, you would have done on 15th itself, you would have deposited service tax. And for this month, what is the due date? Next month 5th. Next month 5th is the due date. And what is the last date for payment by the subscribers of Airtel? It is on 25th. So in 5 days to 10 days, you have to compile all this information and you have to make payment of service tax. Is it practically possible? Is it practically possible? No. So that's why this provision has been kept. If I am giving invoice and if I am receiving amount, not only the amount mentioned in invoice and something excess up to 1000 per bill. Per bill up to 1000 if I am receiving in excess, for that excess amount I may opt to pay immediately or I can pay even in the next period also. Okay. In that case you have an option. What is that option? Either pay service tax on receipt basis or on invoice basis. Why? Because if I ask you, if I compel you, if this provision is not there, automatically you are compelled to pay it in that same month. That is on the basis of payment received. That will be practically difficult. Because every service provider who is providing, not only Airtel, take even other service providers and even take this credit card. Credit cards, in case of payments to credit cards, even in that case also, sometimes suppose if the credit card amount is 10,200 rupees, they will pay 11,000 rupees. What's there? That excess amount will anyhow be reflected in the next period. Understood now? So that's why this point is there. Please have a look into it. Mark it as very important. Getting sleep. Bear for 1.5 hours, sir. Okay. Understood? See next page. In the next page you can see the grace period of 4 days when there is a change in effective rate of tax or when service is taxable for the first time. Okay. So let me discuss this. Change in rate of tax. Which rule? 4A and 4B. Okay. Do you remember 4A? Rule 4A? The service is provided before change in rate. If payment is received, if invoice is raised before and payment is received after, what is the point of taxation? Date of invoice. If payment is received before and invoice is issued later, what is the point of taxation? Date of payment received. So we don't have problem here. Correct? Come to rule 4B. If payment is received before and invoice is raised later, date of invoice. Okay, we cannot do anything there because we should have given invoice. if invoice is issued before and payment is received later. Now, date of payment. Invoice is issued before and payment is whichever is later, right? So, payment. Suppose if there is 1 day delay in making payment. If there is 1 day delay in making payment. Had both these things falls before, it is whichever is earlier and old rate is applicable. Just because of 1 day delay, what happens? Say 1/4/2012 effective rate of change in rate. Effective date of change in rate. Instead of making payment on 1 day before, if you have paid 1 day before, invoice is given here. Invoice is given here, payment is also here. Both are before. When both are before, whichever is earlier and the old rate only applicable. But here, what happened? Because of 1 day delay, one date falls in this side and other date falls in that side. So whichever is later, so payment date, you have to pay new rate. Correct? So you have to give grace period for them. What is that grace period? 4 days. Okay? So if you have made payment within 4 days from the change in effective rate, in that case, the old rate will only be applicable. The 4 days is grace days provided. And again, in case of new services. In case of new services, invoice raised before, invoice given before, but payment received after the change in, that is after the date when service becomes taxable. In this case also 4 days grace days is given. Why, sir? Suppose if that 4 days grace days is given and by the time, say tomorrow the service recipient is making the payment. Today they have introduced this service as taxable service. You can't do anything. You have to pay tax because on the date of payment received, if the service is taxable, you have to pay service tax. Correct? So now, because of this problem, 4 days grace days has been given. So within these 4 days, what you will tell? Arey yaar, if you make payment within 4 days, I will not pay service tax. Else I have to pay service tax. So please give me money soon. So you can push him. Ultimately, it is a benefit to him. If he is delaying, what happens? We will collect service tax from him. Correct? So within that 4 days, we can try and we can push him to make the payment. Suppose if he fails to pay. Take new service. The new service became taxable from 1/7/2012. From 1/7/2012, the service became taxable. Before 1/7/2012 itself, you have raised the invoice, but payment not received, 1 lakh rupees. Okay. Now, what is the time within which you can receive the payment for the service to be not taxable? 4 days from 1/7/2012. Correct? Now, you ask the service recipient. Service recipient tells, I don't have money. You gave me a credit period of 30 days. Right now, I don't have money. Arey yaar, I will levy service tax on you. Let it be, but I don't have money. Okay? So, what we can do? And at a later point of time, if you tell, I will charge service tax to you, he will simply tell, no, at the time when you entered into contract, there was no service tax. How can you charge it to me? Even if you charge, I will not pay. Got it? So he is very adamant. So in order to save service tax, what we can do? Excellent. In the name of that service recipient, you deposit money into your own bank account. Got it? In the name of that service recipient, or give money to service recipient and ask him to make the transaction. If it is through book entry, okay. If it is through bank, then give money to him and ask him to deposit in his bank, and just using a net banking or some RTGS transaction, ask him to make the payment. Okay, so that how much you saved? 1 lakh into 12.36%, 12,360 rupees effectively you saved. Understood? Fine. So this provision will be applicable when? Only when there is change in rate and whenever there is new service. That is in case of rule 4b and rule 5. Only in these two cases. See this illustration. Illustration 1 and illustration 2. See here, you don't get confused, sir. The service is provided before 1/4/2012. This is a case regarding invoice. Invoice